Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it on a Thursday. Getting ready for UFC Oklahoma City. Obviously, in Oklahoma City. But we got Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman happening in the main event. Johnny, what's going on, Johnny? Welcome in. First guy in the chat. Already talking about Usman winning by knockout in the first round. That's I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know if I feel the same way, but we'll get into that, of course, when we get into the full preview. Got a couple of topics before we hit that, complete preview of UFC Oklahoma, and yeah, just a little bit of news going around. But as usual, we'll get to the preview of the fights going on this weekend, and yeah, we'll break down all the fights on the card, including the prelims, and talk about who we think might win, because I do the fight wheel predictions at the end, and I've already made my predictions. I haven't really said it before, but I will always say if I talk myself out of my pick while I'm breaking things down, then I'm going to reserve the right to change my pick at the end. I just thought about this earlier because I was like, sometimes I just second guess myself. So before the show ends, I'll lock them in. Or, I might not change anything. They might be locked in already. We'll just see what happens, how I feel as we go. You guys bring up good points too. So sometimes if you bring up something in the chat and it makes sense and it convinces me, I might change my pick, but I won't change it after I start the fight wheel predictions, because those are totally random and I don't want to change my pick just to go against or with the fight wheel. So I'll lock them in before we get to those actual predictions. And that's just me thinking out loud, putting a little more thought into my picks at the end, I guess. But I don't usually do a whole lot with it, except for make some picks and then have the fight wheel predict randomly. And yeah, so far, I've been doing pretty well. 4-1 last week, so that was nice. And then the fight wheel went 1-4, so not so good for the fight wheel. Better for me. No money on it though. Ray, who was in here for the watch party, put some money on it, but unfortunately the power went out. He wasn't able to push it through, and then when it came back, he picked the wrong fighters that weren't on my list. He would have lost anyway by the time we got to the middle of it, because Corey Sandhagen dropped that fight to Mario Bautista. And I don't know if you guys saw. Yo, what up, Phil? I don't know. I don't know if oh man, I know somebody named Phil too, so that one almost got me, and then I read the rest. So you didn't get me again, but at least you remembered to change the picture this time. But yeah, the what was I saying? Oh man, I totally got thrown off. Shit, I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, that Bautista. Bautista with that Suleyev stretch just screwed up Sandhagen's leg, his hamstring. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but the back of his leg was absolutely just annihilated, bruised to all hell, because he probably tore something or at least strained it really bad, because that thing looked like it looked like something really, really bad happened to him. Surprisingly, he went through the rest of the fight that way. That's probably why he got so bad, because I'm sure whatever he did to injure it made it bad initially, but then, hopping around, putting all the weight on it, pivoting and stuff like that off of that leg probably helped that become as bad as it looked. So I didn't even think to grab the picture, but I saw the picture and I was like, holy shit, that's not good. I don't know if you guys remember, little throwback to the Uriah Faber days when he got his legs annihilated by Jose Aldo, and he couldn't walk for fucking a few days. After that, he could barely walk out of the cage, and his legs were completely bruised up from the top to the bottom because he got his legs beat up so bad. And those are the kind of dangerous ass kicks that Jose Aldo used to throw when he was younger. I wish he would have kept that going, because it seemed like at some point when he started to get a little bit older, and I guess this is a little bit of contradictory of me, because I said that Conor shouldn't be throwing those kind of kicks when he's as old as he is and hasn't been fighting for 5 years. And coming in trying to throw a kick like that is crazy. But Aldo would just throw those really powerful, dangerous, leg kicks, and would just bruise the shit out of your leg and damage you. So yeah, he used to be good at that, and then all of a sudden he just quit throwing those kicks. And I don't know if it was the age, or if he hurt himself, and or if he just messed up one time and decided that it wasn't worth it anymore. I don't know, but he stopped throwing those kicks, and I think that's kind of when, besides obviously McGregor knocking him out, I feel like those leg kicks stopped too, and that's when things kind of started going downhill for Aldo. But I just remember how bad those kicks were, man, especially to Faber. Holy shit. But yeah, just a little blast from the past there. But yeah, other than the fights going on this weekend, the other news that came out, Shakur Stevenson signed with Zuffa Boxing, and apparently they made it official that Conor Benn is fighting Ryan Garcia for Zuffa ring. What is it? I mean, I don't know at this point. You know what I mean? Conor Benn is obviously a Zuffa boxer, but they haven't really fought exactly. I got Usman winning in the first round too. Oh shit. Damn, Tua. What's going on, Tua? Man, you guys got some faith in Usman, huh? Is this just because of DDP's performance against Chimaev, or is this because you guys just think that Usman is better? They should purposely mislabel the boxers every card. Yeah, Shakur got that treatment of being called a basketball player. It's like, bro, that's a little bit that's almost racist, just thinking that every black dude is a basketball player. Like, what the fuck? Usman is better. But I know, but that's why I'm asking, like, why do you think that? You just think he's better all around? You think that because of what happened to DDP, he's been the champ and held on to it? Okay, that makes more sense. Beat the strikers and the grapplers. All right, hell yeah. Those are the kinds of answers I needed. Just to kind of give me some context. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys are picking him, I want to know why. Because I would have thought that people would be picking DDP right away. He can stifle the grapplers and ground the strikers. That's true. And I know people talk about his knees all the time. He does have a good gas tank. The only problem I see with him is the knees. Sometimes he does look bad with those knees, but I mean, he looked great in his last fight. Xavier, what's going on, man? What's good, fam? How we doing? Happy Thursday. Oh yeah, happy Thursday. Cheers. Durable even with all the bum knee talk. Yeah. I mean, and I know people bring that up all the time, but him talking about not being able to walk on concrete and always trying to take the path of the least hard ground in order to walk is what pretty much fueled the fire on all of that talk, because he's talked about how bad his knees are. Hey, what's going on? All is good. How you doing?
What's happening with you, man?
But Usman's knees ain't fail him in a fight. He ain't Conor. That's the damn truth, because you would think somebody like Usman with all those issues. I've even heard people talk about, seeing him just in everyday life and looking like he's older than me trying to get up out of a chair. So yeah. Thoughts on we're going to find out Saturday night, trash talk style. Oh man. I do like trash talk. You know what I'm saying? What's up, John? I do like trash talk. I don't like it to get to the point where it just is completely out of control and stupid. Or in some ways, but I do think we're gonna find out on Saturday night shit. Yeah, it's just it's kind of a way to just let's not talk shit, and let's keep a backup for in case I don't win. I think guys saying, having confidence in themselves winning, but understanding that anything could happen is it's a good balance. But you know, you got to show that confidence so you don't have the doubt in your head that you can win. You know what I mean? So it's a different mentality that these fighters got to take. But for me, I always have some sort of doubt in the back of my head. So that might be my downfall if I were to be in there trying to fight. Isn't it crazy that the last time DDP was on a fight night was back in 2020? Yeah, man. You know, that was the rise going to the title and then winning the title. And then, you know, that's it's been a long time. But you know, it's unfortunate he lost the title like he did, and he's not getting an you know, immediate rematch or whatever. But you know, it's just one of those things. He lost so bad that I don't see it being the right thing to do. I know he you know, he defended the title a couple times, but he only defended it against the person he beat to win the title, and Izzy, who was a, you know, already dropping fights that we didn't think he would be dropping. So yeah, man, it's crazy. It is crazy to see that he's now back in a fight night. But you know, at least he's not like just one of the main card fights or a prelim fight, especially. At least he's, you know, he's the main event. So I guess I didn't care too much for DDP just because he was the one going against Izzy. I was happy to see him beat Sean Strickland, but I hated seeing him beat Izzy. But that's just because I'm an Izzy fan, right? But it's just the wrong time. If that fight would have happened when it was initially supposed to happen, it would have been better. They better go all out on the African culture stuff with the fight night. King of Africa title would be nice. Blackest man on earth.
Bruh.
Here's the thing. Here's what's funny. Oklahoma fucking City, we're having two African fighters, which you could represent a complete, you know, have a complete like African type promotion, and and yet you're having it in probably one, you know, Oklahoma City. Like, what do you think of when you think of Oklahoma City? Oklahoma City bombing? Like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but what else do you think? The Thunder, you know, the basketball team. What else? Definitely not anything that has to do with Africa. Tornadoes, yep. So yeah. So it's just a weird booking, right? You know what I mean? But I guess, yeah, I probably should have hesitated on that one. Who win what between DDP and Usman? You got to stick around and find out. What's up, Tyler? You got to stick around and find out. We're gonna break it down here soon. I'll as soon as I get to it, I'll let you know who I picked. But yeah, if you're interested, then stick around and find out.
Another one.
Oh, man. All right. So before we go too much further, because at this point I need it, let's give a shout out to the sponsor. Oh, shit. I turned on my light instead of turning off the fan. There we go. Shout out to Noctane Smelling Salts, my sponsor, of course. Yeah, this is the most potent bottle with the red cap. You know, I always got to take a quick whiff before we get started. You shake it up to kind of get that that effect going in there, make it nice and potent, and then we take a nice big whiff. And I feel like this is gonna be dangerous because this bottle feels like it's got some pressure in it. Okay, here we go. Oh God, yeah. Yep. Woo, that was a good one. That was a good one. Noctane Smelling Salts. This is the most potent bottle, which is why I had a harsh reaction, but that's also the reaction I'm looking for because it wakes you up, keeps you awake and alert, gives you a nice quick boost of adrenaline. That's what power lifters use it for, the adrenaline. And I use it to stay awake when I'm driving out of town, long road trips, just feeling tired, and to get the show started right here on Thursdays and Sundays and during the watch parties. So shout out to Noctane for the sponsorship. I appreciate you. I'm always using this. I use this product like legitimately. You see me do it all the time. Does it stink? That's the thing is you can actually put scents in it to make it smell a little better. It's technically like what ammonia is the main ingredient. So that doesn't smell the best, but these don't smell horribly. It's just personal differences. Like, you know, my wife doesn't like the way it smells and it stinks up the car if I do it in there. It goes away quickly, but it doesn't smell horribly, I don't think. But if you have a sensitive nose, maybe. But you can also add the scents. You know what I mean? There's like lavender, menthol, pepper, all kinds of crazy shit. So scan that QR code on the screen, or there's a link in the description below on all my videos. You can always follow that as well. Go check out their website, learn more about it, how the effectiveness, what to use it for, and the types of scents that they can add to it, and then the different strengths and stuff like that. So if you go all the way down on the main page for their website, you can see at the bottom it says proudly sponsoring the Going Rounds podcast. That's me. So that's why I'm shouting them out all the time, because they hooked me up, and I hooked them up with some promotions. So nasal assault is what I call it. There you go. My wife. I drink Conor energy drinks to stay up, more powerful than coffee and Red Bull. Would others smell it if I did it in the library? Maybe if they were close by, but I mean, it's not illegal. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna, if you're in an open area, it's not so bad. When you're contained in the car, where like, you know, where like the AC's running and it might blow the you know, the smell through. When, yeah, if you're in an enclosed area, other people are gonna smell it, or if they're sitting right next to you. But other than that, it probably won't be that bad. And being in the library studying up late and shit, like, you know, maybe if you're not into Adderall or doing anything else that's going to keep you awake and want to be a little safer, you can just take some whiffs of this and keep yourself awake. So, still so disappointed that Holland pulled out. Oh, yeah. Do they got some that smell like a plate of ribs? I don't think so. Is there a replacement for Holland, or did they cancel that fight? Open that shit up on a plane. Ooh. I mean, I've taken it with me on the plane. I don't think I've opened it up on the plane though. What about a museum, man? I'm sure you'd be fine. Thanks again to Noctane for the sponsorship. John, I'm not sure if they got a replacement yet. I think they did. I want to say they did. Let me take a look real fast. For some reason they took away what? Oh, here we go. Maybe not. Shit. Hold on. They took away the way I usually look at stuff. Oh no, they did cancel that fight because he was fighting Jacoby Smith. I kind of forgot that I for some reason kept thinking that was on next weekend's card. But yeah, Kevin Holland versus Jacoby Smith, that's out. So they took that fight off the card, which sucks because that would have been a great fight. So yeah, that's a damn shame. But yeah, we still got some decent fights on this card. The main card especially. The undercard, you know, but the main card is pretty decent. So all right. Well, now that we got all that out of the way, I'm going to take a sip and then we'll get into everything we're here to talk about, which is MMA and combat sports, obviously. I just talked about some of the boxing announcements that have happened, the Zuffa boxing signings and stuff like that. You know, I'll follow boxing as much as I can, especially now that Zuffa is involved, just because it's goes hand in hand with the UFC because of Dana White and Zuffa and all that. You know, Zuffa being the old company. And I like boxing. I like all combat sports, but the Joshua card announced? Really? Oh, wait. Who's he fighting? Maybe I don't remember that. I've been kind of out of it lately. Just because make a sauce out of it. Just I don't know, I've been out of it. I've been watching a lot of other stuff, like I know it sounds weird, but I like watching streamers. I've said it before. So they got, like, you know, Kai Cenat's back and all that, and there's a lot of, you know, fuss around it because he was gone forever. And yeah, I just like watching the streams and stuff. So if I'm not listening to podcasts and stuff like that, then I'm watching streams. So, yeah, I just feel like I haven't been scrolling as much through all the social media. So some things have kind of slipped by, but and then I just focus on the fight itself. So, I thought I remembered something about Joshua, but you should do live streams for power slaps. People have asked me about that. But I don't know. I don't really get it. I guess I understand. I mean, all you really do is fucking stand there and slap each other. But there's actual rules. You can't club, which whatever the fuck that means. Sarah Safari, appreciate. Yeah. Sarah Safari for sure. She's in Streamer U too, if you didn't know. So you can see her a lot right now because they're doing all this week, going through till Saturday or some shit, Sunday maybe. But yeah, Sarah's on there, so I definitely appreciate Sarah Safari. What do I listen to at work? Mostly podcasts, but depending on if I'm stationary, I'll throw a stream on, or if I'm driving. I don't really watch it. I'm more listening to it. Just because I'm always doing other shit. So really I'm just playing it to listen to it, and I'll take a glance at it sometimes. What stream are you? Oh, basically Kai Cenat's like one of the biggest streamers out there, and he put together this thing last year called Streamer University, and it's basically a way for smaller streamers to come up and learn things from more experienced, advanced streamers, bigger streamers that have a lot of following and shit like that. And they just provide different kind of, it's basically a big content event, but people actually learn shit from it and get big from it, because they'll do, all the clips go viral, and depending on what's happening. And then with all these big streamers involved as professors who teach the other streamers what they're doing. This year there's a lot of bigger streamers that are actually students as well. So I mean, it's interesting. It's fun to watch. I have my set, streamers that I watch all the time when they're live, whenever I get a chance. And then I'll watch other people just here and there. But like Sarah's been on with a bunch of people I watch. So, and I've known her through Bradley Martin and that podcast that they used to do. So yeah, I learned from a lot of these streams, just the production and stuff. Because they use OBS, which is what I use for this stream, and they use like way better cameras than I do, but still a camera like I do and stuff like that. I got a PhD in podcasting. What the fuck? So yeah, just realized that Walter Walker is fighting Thomas Peterson next week. That's cool. Oh yeah. I heard about that, and yeah, it feels like it's been a minute since Walter Walker's fought, but I got a PhD. What the fuck? I'm just waiting for the follow up of what you guys are gonna come up with that one. But I gotta talk to it. Yeah, I mean, is there anything? Do you guys listen to? I mean, is that what you're talking about, Johnny? Do you listen to a bunch of podcasts too, or is there other stuff? If you guys are interested, by the way, I'm sure you've seen it on the screen, but I am on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that shit. I do have an audio version as well. Doctorate in doxing. But yeah, so I mean, on Spotify you can upload. Yeah, I mean, I'm big on music too, but I started listening to podcasts and I just learned so much from it. So in order for me to kind of stick, because I can drown out the music for some reason, but when the podcast is playing, I stay more focused on what I'm doing when I'm doing stuff that I don't have to pay attention to people talking to me and shit. So I listen to podcasts all the time. But yeah, I love music too. Don't get me wrong. Anytime I'm in the car, I'm playing music. And whenever just music comes on, I'm happy with it. So don't get me wrong on that one. But I keep up with a lot of podcasts by listening to them throughout the day and shit like that at work. So I always have an earbud in, almost even the whole time that I'm home. So, but yeah, it's cool. I only like smart podcasts. That's kind of how I started, and now I just listen to just entertaining shit. What's up, Christian? How you doing? Skillets giggling. What? Random, but do you listen to podcasts to help you fall asleep? I have to listen to something now. No, actually, when I'm home, when I'm home with my wife, I don't have to have anything playing or anything like that in the background. Probably because I have her next to me. So it's like one of those things where, you know, I don't want to bug her for one, and for two, I fall asleep quickly when I'm in bed next to her. But when that's really when I'm home in general. But when I'm out, like for out of town for work, which I will be next week, by the way, so you guys will probably see the different backdrop and stuff next week. But when I'm out of town for work, I fall asleep with the TV on, and stuff like that, just because, you know, I'm by myself. So, when was the last time you watched a stand-up special? Not that long ago. Actually, I went to Killers of Kill Tony, this past Friday. I went to that. So I got to see, David Lucas, if you know him, Timmy No Breaks, David Jolly, and Martin Phillips. So I got to see all those guys, which was badass. Oh, you're going to Bobby Lee? Nice. I don't know that I've ever been that interested in seeing Bobby Lee live. I feel like he's funny, but I haven't really seen him by himself that much. Ellie Sadiq, new shit is dope. Okay. Yeah, I like Ellie Sadiq too. I feel like the older I'm getting, I need to learn shit so pods and lives help. Yeah, exactly. That's why I listen to all of it too, man. It just kind of keeps my brain going in a good way. It's his final tour apparently. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I was surprised that Killers of Kill Tony was coming here to my city, so I was happy to go watch that. I've seen, you know, I've seen not Kill Tony itself, but I've seen Tony Hinchcliffe when he was opening for Rogan. They came here, I think it was 2018, and he opened for Rogan, so I got to watch him then and then see Rogan as well. I wouldn't mind Sean Strickland doing a stand-up special and creating his own podcast. Oh my God. Bobby Lee got new material. He's definitely one of those, hey, no problem, all is good. I'm glad I can continue to do them, man. Thank you guys for continuing to come back and interacting, because that always helps for sure. Just keep supporting. Make sure you guys hit that like button while you're here, please. I appreciate that. Just make sure you do that every time you're here, just because it helps the channel grow and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So if I get at least everybody who puts a chat and, you know, put something in the chat or is watching and likes the video, it helps me know what's going on with things and helps the channel grow. So, but yeah, so I mean, I like comedies. I listen to comedy podcasts and shit like that too. What's up, Rain? How you doing? Welcome back. Appreciate you for coming back. And what was I saying? Oh yeah. But I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that, but I'll definitely throw music on when I have that feeling. Right before the show, I'm always listening to music on Spotify before the show gets started, just to get me, you know, pumped up and ready to go. Listen to audio fights. What the fuck? Oh man. But yeah, it's good. So I am on Spotify. You can watch the video there as well, but you know, for audio only portion, you can do either one. And then obviously anywhere else you get your podcasts, you can listen to the audio only version of the podcast there. But as you know, I do a lot of visuals and stuff. So, and it's way better if you watch it on, you know, YouTube. But if you don't have YouTube Premium and you're not watching it live, you know, I still appreciate coming to YouTube to give me the view. But at the same time, if Spotify's easier for you at the moment, you could do that as well. So you could check that out. Going to UFC 330, bro. Scared that Gary might take Islam down. Ilya, Hamzat, Alex. All L's this year. Is Islam next? Yeah, man. That's actually fuck. That is a good point, man. Everybody's been taking L's, and I'd kind of like to see Gary win, actually. Islam's never really been my favorite, even though I'm a big Khabib fan. I've just never been that into Islam, but he's damn good, so you can't do anything than that. But to acknowledge that. So Dricus versus Usman breakdown, who you got? I'll be getting to that here shortly. I haven't gotten into the breakdown just yet, but I'm about to. So do you prefer the media or AI rankings? I think they're both fucking full of shit, to be honest with you. I don't know that I really like either one of them. I think that they tried to fix something that was broken by putting a cheaper version of it up. I don't know that AI is really, it's just a different way to be wrong, kind of, unfortunately. What? I hope you know that guy, Tua. Other than that, you're just talking shit. The last Muslim stronghold is on the 170 belt. Yeah, Gary's the savior. Usman, bro, DDP is awesome, but Usman is gonna diddy him on the floor all 5 rounds. Holy shit. I thought Islam was your favorite fighter all time from Dagestan. Definitely not. That would be Khabib. But yeah, so let's get into this so we can get to the fight breakdown, because we have a couple things to talk about before we get to that. And that's starting with RAF 11 happening this weekend as well. Yeah, we got, man, Arman Tsarukyan just can't seem to get into the cage, huh? He's nonstop with RAF. He's nonstop streaming and posting eating videos. So he's like a streamer, a mukbanger, and a fucking fucking, I was gonna say leg humper, but he doesn't really do that in regular fights. But a wrestler, I should say. Nothing against wrestlers at all, but you know, if you do nothing but wrestle in MMA, we all know how that goes. It wins fights, but not in the most exciting fashion. But RAF is its own thing, and they definitely do nothing but wrestling there, and that's fine with me. It's actually pretty entertaining sometimes. And now they're doing this crossover championship belt with Arman Tsarukyan versus Colby Covington. Now that Colby has retired from the UFC, he's focusing on wrestling. So now they can actually make this fight. He probably get more money from RAF and streaming than the cheap UFC put together, probably. He's not really doing his own streams. He's just always on Nina Drama streams. So, and then, you know, he's been on with Neon, and he's been on with Aiden Ross. So, and I don't know if he's been on with Rampage, but he's been on a bunch of different streams, but he doesn't stream on his own, but he's constantly on streams. So it's kind of crazy. But, yeah, he's wrestling Colby Covington. I feel like Colby, I don't know if his wrestling is going to hold up to what Arman's been running through everybody. Even when people seem to think that he's going to have a challenge, he still runs through his opponent. So I don't know if Colby's got what it takes. I think Arman might have more of that killer instinct in him to get that done. Nina and them probably paying him good to come onto their streams. I'm sure they are paying him. It's just a matter of how good. But the fact that he hasn't fought in the UFC and he hadn't even made it really to that point that he's kind of at right now makes me think that you're right. He probably is getting paid way more from both of those than he is the UFC. And I just want to see him back in the fucking cage so he can we can see what he can do, because as we know and see, when you take too much time away, it you know, it's a problem. Colby would have beat Khabib and Islam in the UFC. Fuck that. No, he wouldn't have. No, he definitely wouldn't have. But Colby's a clown, man. I'm sorry. I've always felt that way. I tried to give the dude a benefit of the doubt, and he just completely fucking annoyed me even more to make me hate him more. I respect his skills, but he's definitely not at that level anymore. And I don't know, you know, I don't know how he's gonna do with RAF. So I definitely don't sleep on his wrestling, which is why, you know, I think RAF is good for him, because he wasn't doing well. He wasn't doing well in MMA. So Arman and Justin next, short-lived title. They can't even get Arman in to fight a #1 contender fight. So I don't know how they're going to get him in there, because I think Justin's going to either rematch. He's either going to rematch Holloway, or they might give him Patty. I don't think they will, but I don't know. I mean, if Arman would get his ass in the cage, then maybe we would get that, but we'll see. I do think that Arman is very dangerous for Justin, but I thought Ilya was dangerous for Justin too, and then we saw what happened. So maybe he won't beat up Arman as bad, but he does have potential depending on how much fire he's got left under him to do well against Arman. But who knows? You think Bo Nickel would have beaten Colby as quickly as he did against Dricus? Maybe no, I don't think as quickly, but I think he definitely would have beat him regardless. Arman subs Justin round 3. That's likely. I really don't have a big argument against the fact that Arman beats him one way or the other, but you know, I doubted Gaethje very hard against Ilya. Maybe that was a mistake in hindsight, but I really did doubt him, and look what he did. So I don't doubt my boy from Arizona for too much, because he pulls it out from nowhere. And with him leading up to the end, seemingly the end of his career, I feel like he wants to go out on top, and he's hungry to do it. And he's, you know, he's at that point where he can get out before he suffers real damage. Some might say he already has, but that's just him. I heard Justin wants to defend his belt against Jim Miller King Green. Oh man. Anyway, here's the rest of your RAF card. We also have weird matchup with Ben Askren versus Bilal Muhammad. Now they were somewhat teammates, I guess, over at Rufus Sport for a while. You know, this is a lose-lose for Bilal. Not only is it a lose-lose-lose for him because people just don't like him anyway, but he, you know, if he loses to the guy who almost died because he had to get a double lung transplant and was basically in a coma for a while, and it hasn't even been I don't know that it's even been a full year, and if it has, it's barely over a year since all this has happened, and yet if he loses to him, it's like, how did you lose to that guy? Even though Askren obviously was high level, but that was before life-changing surgery, you know what I mean? But if he beats him, then everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing beating Ben Askren, dude? Like, that's fucked up. Askren still has trouble breathing. Yeah, I know. And that's what kind of weirds me out about this one too. You know the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you strong. Yeah, that's true. What happened to Tracy? She didn't start wrestling till halfway through the fight. Yeah, I think that was her biggest issue. Seems to have fallen in love with her striking for some reason, which, I mean, she has some decent boxing, but I definitely think the combination of striking and wrestling for her is the way to go. And I think she abandoned that, and that was not a good idea for her. So she needs to get back to her roots a little bit with that one. I think when she was mixing the wrestling in earlier in the fights and more often, that she was doing a lot better. So I don't know what made her decide that just slap his lungs out of his mouth. Jesus, Tua, god damn.
Damn, son.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a weird one though for Bilal, but I mean, who gives a shit? Everybody kind of hates him already anyway, right? So I guess it's not really gonna affect him too much, but I think it's just a bad look regardless. So yeah, who knows? Pat Downey fighting in the lower card there. I don't really recognize. Oh, Clay Guida's fighting versus Frankie Edgar. That's crazy. I didn't even notice that one. So that's cool. Frankie Edgar versus Clay Guida happening as well. I don't really recognize anybody else in there besides those. So yeah, RAF 11 happening July 18th as well, on the same night as the UFC fights. I take Edgar. Yeah, more than likely. He's definitely more of a technical wrestler for sure. Clay Guida is just a madman. We all know that he, wrestled and grappled a bunch in MMA, but, I don't know that he's at the skill level of Edgar if he can still hold that up. So, all right, next up, a little bit more news coming out of Conor. He tweeted or posted, whatever you want to call it, something the other day, and it said a few notes. One, I will have the results of my scan on my leg tomorrow, which I think this was 2 days ago or yesterday even, but I haven't seen anything about it. I might have missed it, but I haven't seen any results come out. I looked earlier to make 100% sure I didn't miss it, and I haven't seen anything, so who knows. Number two, the fight should be no contest and all bets returned. What? No sir, bets stay settled. Exactly. I don't understand this because we all know Tom Aspinall hurt his knee against Curtis Blades. TKO loss for him. Anderson Silva breaks his leg. Conor broke his leg. Chris Weidman broke his leg. You know, people have had various injuries. That weird one with Oliveira versus Holloway. You know, yeah, Pantoja, exactly. All of that it's the same thing, man. You get a loss for that. It's a TKO. You cannot continue the fight, so you basically have to throw in the towel because you're injured. They won't let you finish. Well, also, you're done. We all kneel eventually. What's up, Inky Crow? Yeah, man. So yeah, I don't understand where he's coming from with this one. He's coping. That's basically all I chalk it up to. Conor's different. He's the biggest UFC money machine. Yeah, but you can't change the fucking rules for that. You definitely can't. Thank you, Crow. Appreciate you. But yeah, you definitely you can't just change the fucking rules because he says so, or because he's a little, you know, butthurt about the fact of how he went out. And you know, not anymore, brother. Conor's old news now. Yeah, I don't know. It was the Mohawk, man. It made him look older. It made him just fight older. It made him older in general. I think he definitely made a mistake with that one, even though I know it was an homage to like his first fight in the UFC. If he would have done that on his last fight of the UFC, it would have made more sense, unless there was something going on there that we didn't know about. Like maybe he wins and then they made a deal. If he wins, he can leave. I don't see the UFC having made that deal though. But I don't know why he would have gone with that. It was a weird call. Dana going to call the president to have the rules changed. This ain't soccer. But yeah, so Conor is just back to his delirious ways, and who knows what else we're gonna get out of him. But I just hope that he recovers and decides what he's gonna do, and you know, make some decent decisions, I guess. Toe, leg, knee, yup. Only the president will
another
shit. One. But yeah, just Conor's just coping, man. That's really all there is to it. And you know, we'll see how far he takes it and whatever, but there's nothing he can really do. There's no damn way they're gonna adjust anything just because he feels like it. So especially with that performance, you know. But anyway, let's get into what we're here for, and that's UFC Oklahoma City. We got the matchup between Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman, two former champions, one in a different weight class, but still a former champion. Usman's done pretty good since he's been up here. You know, he had that pretty good fight with Chimaev, and then he beat the hell out of Joaquin Buckley. So now he's tested himself with it, the former champ of this actual division. He taken it to the Supreme Court and the White House. He's gonna walk in and be like, "Hey, listen, you guys." Oh man, yeah. Fuck. But Usman, you know, we know the knee problem. We know he actually hasn't lost that many fights. Like, du Plessis has 3 losses on his record. Usman has 4. And for some reason, everybody talks about Usman as if he's washed up and done. But I think it's the inactivity, you know. He doesn't fight that often anymore since he... And you know, just the way he went out with the head kick, it's like all of his aura left him when that happened. I feel like that's what the fans and a lot of the media seems to think. So I know he has skills still, but I mean, he's a little older. And, you know, as weathered as he is, that's what makes it difficult to think that, you know, he's going to just run away with this win, even though we saw DDP drop that loss to Chimaev, dominantly lose to Chimaev, or Chimaev dominantly beat du Plessis for the title, to the point where he can't even get an immediate rematch because it was just so dominant. And, you know, while it was boring and annoying, the way that the fight went down, Chimaev still got the win. So... we'll see what happens with Chimaev next, but as of now, du Plessis is for sure not getting that immediate title, you know, immediate rematch for himself, or the rematch at all, I should say, right now, because of the fact that he's fighting Usman on Saturday. Leon cheating the 3rd fight like crazy. I don't fully remember. We talking like eye pokes and stuff like that. I'm drawing a blank on that one right now. You think Prime Usman beats Islam? That's tough, man. I think it would have been a damn good fight. I'm not sure that he could beat Islam, but I don't think it would be a runaway fight for Islam. Same with if you think Usman would win, I don't think he'd run away with it like and dominate Islam. I think it'd be a really, really good close fight that could go either way for both of them in their primes, to be honest with you. But you know, again, we can't forget about everything that Usman has done, and how many times, you know, he was able to defend that belt, and what he did with his career. So Leon was grabbing the cage and put his fingers inside the gloves. Okay, I do remember that now that you say that. I do remember that. I don't know though, but I think Leon just had Usman's number, especially he was just too much in his head after that head kick knockout. I don't think fighting Leon right away was a good thing for Usman after that. And yeah, I think it was just tough for him to get past that one. So, but yeah, who knows? That's all in the past now. Anyway, let's get to this main card first, and we'll start from the bottom to the top. On the main card, there's only 5 fights on the main card, and that we get that started with Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez. McMillan is 1-0 in the UFC. He's looked pretty damn good in his first time out and in the Contender Series. So he's made a splash. You know, he's got kind of the Sean O'Malley flashiness to him, and everyone has good or bad fights. It matters what it lights in, after, or what you do with it. Oh, got you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things I say all the time is like how you bounce back from a loss, especially when it's your first loss, when you're undefeated, or your first loss in the UFC, or even more importantly, your first loss after losing the title. A lot of things change after those big events, you know. So of course, unless you don't let it, and those are the guys that do the best, that don't give a shit that they just got their first loss in their career, or their first loss in the UFC, or broke a like 7-8 fight win streak. It's like some of these guys don't give a shit. They just get back to work, and that's what's good. What up, Antoine? The KO line tells the tale. 4-0 versus 1-1. Yeah, I mean, true, but I've definitely seen I've definitely seen it not matter when it comes to that kind of a line. But oh, right on, Antoine, no worries. Hope that new job's going well for you, man. But when it comes down to it, if you look at the rest of those categories, they're pretty similar, you know what I mean? 4-0, and that might be what you were referring to, Rain, is that's the only one that's different, and it's leaning in the way of McMillan, so that does make sense. They both have good submissions. 5 for McMillan, 7 for Montez. Neither one of them is lost by submission, and neither one of them is lost by decision. So you think Tommy has star potential? I don't know, man. He doesn't, you know, like, he has all the flashiness. He talks, you know, he talks a lot on the mic, and he tries to bring it every time, and he fights well. But for some reason, he just doesn't stick out to me like other guys have, like Sugar did in the beginning, like a lot of these guys did in the beginning. But you know, there's guys that haven't like really stood out in the beginning that have turned into some of the biggest stars. I can't think of good examples off the top of my head right now, but you know what I mean. So the vice versa, it all could happen. And but for me, McMillan just doesn't stand out. He's not one of those guys that I'm like, oh, you gotta definitely be on the lookout for this guy. But also, he only has 1 fight in the UFC. He may be undefeated overall, 10-0, and he had a good showing in the Contender Series, but we still don't know enough about him. So for me, I think he does have potential when it comes to his skills, but does he have the potential to put it all together and be able to sustain what it takes to be an actual star? So that's why I don't know when it comes down to his potential on that. Merab lost his first 2 fights in the UFC. That's a damn good call right there, Johnny. And that's usually the one I use for an example on that. I just was a little brain dead for a second there. And that's why I like having you guys in here, because you help me out with that stuff. And then the points made, you know what I'm saying? It's a great example. It's probably the one I would have used had I actually thought of it. Not trying to take the credit from you, just saying that's usually the one I talk about when I say you could start your career with a couple losses and still become a champion. You know what I mean? A lot of times a guy loses 2 in a row and in his first 2 fights of the UFC, and everyone's like, ooh, that guy's going to be done quick. But that's not always the truth. And Merab is the perfect example for that. So, but yeah, we got Montez, both only having 1 fight in the UFC, both, having won their initial fight in the UFC. Montez only has 1 loss overall, while McMillan is undefeated. And yeah, with McMillan's style, it makes for a fun fight because, he's an explosive striker. He throws, dynamic strikes, and he's got some power. So, he trains with Sean, as we know, and all those guys. So, he's really long and lanky too. So that helps with the reach and being able to throw the power shots. So if he gets into a rhythm, he's definitely gonna, if he starts off the right way, he's definitely gonna be able to put him away early. But Montez, he's only got 1 loss again. He has, and that was a TKO loss or a KO loss. So, with McMillan being a knockout guy, that could work against him, but it's only 1, so you can't put too much stock into that, right? But Montez has more of the dangerous submission style, and 7 of his 12 wins have come by submission. But McMillan's never been submitted either, while he has 5 wins down there too. So it's not a big difference there. It's just Montez seems to be more of a submission artist than anything. Cardio favors McMillan, the wrestler, plus he's 4 or 5 years younger. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Rain. And I think that's going to be what helps combat those submissions and stuff as well, because he might be able to get himself up off the ground quicker with the wrestling style and stuff. And he definitely likes to strike, so he's going to be looking to get up there. But if McMillan can keep it standing, I think it's going to be his fight to lose. But he's got to control the range and use his reach correctly, and maybe not get too overzealous and jump into something that gets him to the ground quickly, where Montez can then take over. And if he closes the distance before that happens and forces scrambles and stuff, it's gonna get to his world of grappling and stuff, and then he might be able to get McMillan in a position to submit him. So it is one of those kind of fights, but we've seen Montez, he's gotten 1 stoppage on the feet, and he's lost 1 stoppage on the he's been stopped 1 time on the feet as well. But that it doesn't really mean anything, but it's very few fights like that. But when it comes down to it, that's what McMillan has over Montez. And Montez did beat Ricky Tercios in his last fight by submission with a 2nd round choke, and he got a performance bonus for that one. And Tercios was one of the Ultimate Fighter winners. So McMillan's definitely coming in to try to stop it early with the striking, and Montez will probably be looking for a submission of sorts. That KO loss was a 3-2 nobody. Yeah, and that's why McMillan might be able to get the best of him in this one. But who knows? Maybe he who knows? And it's only 1, it's only 1, and it could say a lot for him and his chin, being that he got knocked out by somebody like that. But getting knocked out and getting submitted, 2 different things. So it's tough to say. Should be a fun fight though at featherweight. Next up, we got the easy on the eyes Tabitha Ricci versus Fatima Klein. And I say that because if you check out Tabitha Ricci's Instagram, you'll know what I'm talking about. But Montez 4 subs in a row, if you like Toptura Jr. So we got Tabitha Ricci versus Fatima Klein. Ricci coming off a loss. Klein's on a 3-fight win streak, which is tough, but Ricci's a tough fighter, and it's not easy to get her out of there. But Klein is undefeated at 9-0, while Ricci's 12-4 overall, 7-4 in the UFC. Wait a minute, I screwed that up. 9-1 is Klein. I didn't fix that one, so ignore that. She is 3-1 in the UFC, and she's never been stopped at all. She's only lost to one, and that's by decision. Ricci first round finish. I mean, I'm rooting for Ricci for sure, but she's never been subbed, and she's only lost once on the feet and has 3 losses by decision. So most of her wins come by decision as well. And yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the women though, unfortunately. So we'll see if we get some action out of this one. Ricci, you know, there's times where she just looks so damn good with her boxing, and her striking is just so crisp and clean. And unfortunately, you know, it doesn't always work for her that way. But when she's on point and in a rhythm, like, she definitely gets it going, and she's able to really, you know, impress me, at least with her striking. Klein going to be a future champion. Oh shit. But she lost her last fight to Virna Jandiroba, who fought for the title and stuff like that. Virna's, you know, on a streak. It seems like Mackenzie Dern's the only one that can really beat her as of late. Amanda Hebos beat her in between the 2 Mackenzie Dern losses, and then her only other losses to Carla Esparza, who was a ex-champ as well. So yeah, Virna's a tough opponent. So Ricci, that was her last loss, and that's why fighting Fatima Klein, who has only had 1 loss, isn't a bad matchup. But she's on a 3-fight win streak with wins over Victoria Dudikova, Melissa Martinez, and Angela Hill. Those first 2 fights were TKO wins, one with a performance of the night bonus, and then Angela Hill's was by decision, of course, because most people go to decision with Angela Hill because she's tough. She's tough to get out of there for sure. But Klein definitely looking good. Her last loss was to 3 fights ago to Jasmine Jasdavicius, who's a tough opponent as well, and that was by decision. So yeah, this should be a fun fight. I'm definitely rooting for Ricci, not just because she's easy on the eyes, but I just like her fighting style. And like I said, when she gets in a rhythm and puts together some good striking, she definitely is impressive. So and she's durable, and she can definitely just put up a good fight. So I think if she you know, with her striking and then her wrestling, she, you know, she gets on top and controls things, she could definitely you know, get the win there. But and that was at flyweight. Yes, this is, yeah, no, this is strawweight. This is happening at strawweight. So but yeah, we'll see how this one turns out. I'm definitely rooting for Ricci, but as a New Yorker, I'm rooting for Klein. Yeah, I got you, Johnny. Next up, we got Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. And, you know, Chase Hooper being, oddly enough, we were just talking about Ben Askren, the dude that looks like Ben Askren's son. But I don't know if you remember that little skit thing they did where they kind of made it seem like he was his son, which was pretty funny. But yeah, 8-5 in the UFC, 16-5 overall for Chase Hooper. Never been submitted, but he's 4-3 by KO TKO, 4-2 by decision with 8 wins by sub. He's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, but so is Ramirez. Chase Hooper winning for Ben. Yeah. They're both on a 2-fight losing streak, and Mitch Ramirez has only lost by KO TKO. He's 5-3 there. No losses by sub and no losses by decision. He's only got 2 wins by sub and 1 by decision. He's 0-2 in the UFC, so hasn't had the best of luck. And if he can't get this win over Chase Hooper, we can pretty much guarantee he's going to get cut. For losing his first 3 fights in a row in the UFC, I don't think he's going to stick around. I said I wouldn't bet Hooper again, but I'm betting Hooper again by sub. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad call, Rain. I would feel like that's probably, you know, Ramirez hasn't lost by submission, but he's only got 2 wins there. And it seems like he keeps things on the feet a little more than getting on the ground. So, I mean, Hooper's definitely most dangerous on the ground, obviously. But we've seen him, you know, with some good strikes, some good striking and landing some good strikes that have, you know, been able to knock an opponent down where he can then chase him down there and tie him up for a submission or finish him on the ground. So he's got 8 career submission wins and obviously a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's fought some big opponents already in the past, and unfortunately, he's coming off that back-to-back loss, both TKOs to Lance Gibson Jr. and Alexander Hernandez, both in the first round as well. So I think it's safe to say if we get out of that first round and Ramirez isn't able to catch him on the feet, Hooper's going to go to work and use that time to drag Ramirez down and work for a submission. Before those two losses, he was on a 3-fight win streak with a win over Slava Klaus by submission. He beat Clay Guida by submission and got a bonus for that, and then beat Jim Miller as well. So he was kind of on a roll there, beating older guys with Guida and Miller, and then faced Hernandez and Gibson Jr. and lost those two fights by TKO. So it seems like maybe Ramirez likes to stay on his feet a little more than Hooper does, but does he have what it takes to stop Hooper from getting takedowns and tying him up in a submission? I don't know. And Hooper's striking has looked a lot better as of late. So Ramirez might make some mistakes. If Hooper can make him miss, he can catch him off balance and take him down. Ramirez struggles more against high level competition, so it makes it a difficult fight for him. But with two fights, losing 2 fights in a row and possibly a third, he's going to be he better be hungry to get a win. So I think if Hooper gets it down to the ground, obviously it's going to be his fight to lose. But Ramirez would probably have to keep it standing and win the striking exchanges in the first round. Otherwise, if he gets past the first, it might get tough for him. So Hooper has dropped his last 2 fights in the first round, like I said, so that might be the best route for Ramirez to go, but he's got to be smart about it. Otherwise, Hooper will definitely get him to the ground and tie him up. So we'll see how that one goes down for Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. So that's that fight. Moving on, we've got the co-main event, and that's Jared Cannonier versus Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD. And I feel like this should be a pretty fun fight, honestly. CLD's only got 2 losses on his record, and both those happened in the UFC. But he's 7-2 in the UFC, 14-2 overall. Hasn't been stopped on the feet or on the ground. Only lost 2 by decision, and he's got 3 wins there. Only 1 win by sub, but 10 wins by KO, TKO. I like those double digits in those columns. So if he's got 10 wins there, that's pretty damn good. Cannonier also has 10 wins by KO, TKO, but he's got 3 losses there. 3 wins by sub and 5 and 6 by decision. He definitely doesn't want to see that go to decision because he doesn't have a great record with that one. CLD's only slightly different with the 3-2 by decision. So I don't see this one going the distance either. Both these guys have pretty aggressive styles, and I feel like they're going to be trying their best to get after each other and make it exciting because that's just in their nature for both these guys, I think. Cannonier's 11-9 in the UFC, 18-9 overall. So this is happening in the middleweight division, and I feel like it's going to be a good one. It's Cannonier's older, 42 years old, man, which is crazy, but 42 years old, and he's coming off a loss to Michael Venom Page. Jared might fight until he's 50. Yeah, I mean, he definitely could, because this dude, I think he's been in 3 different weight classes at this point. I think he's one of the only guys to ever get a KO win in 3 different divisions, which is crazy. Like CLD, KO, but so does everyone. Maybe decision. Yeah, I mean, that's probably where the most money out of it is to by decision, but they got to get there, so that's the hard part. But yeah, in his last 4 fights, Cannonier is 1-3 with only 1 win over who's in this picture here, Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. But his losses are to Michael Page and Kyle Bahalio and Nasruddin Imavov. 2 of those were by decision and 1 was by TKO. He got a fight of the night bonus against Bahalio and a fight of the night bonus against RoboCop. So he does get bonuses. He's got a few others down further in his record, and he's definitely an interesting or entertaining fighter. But so is Christian Leroy Duncan. he's coming off he's on a 4-fight win streak with wins over Pulev, Eric Anders, Marco Tulio, and Roman Dolidze. 2 decisions and 2 TKO wins. Both the TKO wins are performance of the night bonuses for him. His last loss was to RoboCop as well. So while Cannonier's only win in his last 4 fights was to RoboCop, CLD's only loss in his last 5 fights was to RoboCop. So it's kind of crazy. MMA math doesn't always work though. I think the opponents that Cannonier has fought and lost to are similar, if not better than the or not as good as the opponents that CLD has beaten as of late. So I think if you really wanted to, you know, go by MMA math, that might be considered. But if you're just going through and looking at the basics of it all, you know, Cannonier is like one of the hardest hitters in the division still, even at 42 years old. He's got that knockout power, and he can change the fight with one punch, you know. But and he's fought a lot of big opponents in the past: Izzy, Sean Strickland, Kyle Bahalio, Dricus. So he's fought all the big guys. But CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, he's definitely one of the guys that's risen up in the division. And with this 4-fight win streak he's got going, you know, it's hard to look past that and think that the older guy's going to be able to get the best of him. But you never know with how hard Cannonier hits. But Duncan is, you know, explosive with his kickboxing, dynamic movements, and got a lot of big finishes. So yeah, I think if Cannonier can use his experience and patience and be technical, he might be able to get the win over CLD. Otherwise, you know, Duncan might use his speed and movement to get the best of the older Cannonier and get the finish. This one's more like, are we going to get a finish or not? And I believe we're probably going to get a finish and not a decision out of this one. So it should be a good one. And that's your co-main event. And RoboCop might finish this year in the top 5. Yeah, who knows? But I'm wondering what he has next. But RoboCop's a good fighter for sure. So for both of them to have fought him and have split the wins and losses there, that's kind of crazy. So it makes you wonder a little more about, you know, how they're gonna fight each other. So should be a good one though, regardless. And that brings us to the main event: Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. RoboCop fighting Fluffy. Oh, that's right. That's right. When is that again? You know, the way I usually look up fights for some reason is gone. Oh, that's August 22nd. Okay, that's right. They're the main event too. Yeah, that should be a fun fight. I haven't been able to, my brain has not been able to, Johnny's definitely on it. My brain's always more focused on what I'm talking about here. I wish it worked a little better. I got way too many things in my head though. But yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, that should be a good fight though. Fluffy versus RoboCop. That should be a good one. That feels like the next really good one, because we have Ankalaev versus Guskov, which should have been Roundtree, but Roundtree got injured, so that sucks. And then we got Medic versus D-Rod. Gamrot versus Selkill, that should be pretty good. Makachev versus Gary, of course. And then Hernandez versus Rodriguez. So fight night wise, that's the next really, really good one. Gamrot versus Selkill should be pretty good though. Obviously 330 is going to be good. So yeah, anyway, let's get back to this. I think UFC might book Costa versus Yuri. Yeah, I think that's what I was hearing too, from what Costa was saying and other people have said. So that could be a good one. But now we got Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. Dricus only having the one loss in the UFC, 9-1, and I'm sorry, not only have only the one loss, yeah, in the UFC. Jesus, man, I'm all over the place. That's the 2 9-1s threw me off there. He's 9-1 in the UFC, 9-1 by KO TKO, 11-1 by sub, and 3-1 by decision. He's lost every which way you know, has one loss in every category there, but those are his only 3 losses. So he's coming off the loss by losing his title to Chimaev. That was his first. Hey, what's going on, Tasteful? How you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you for coming in. Breathe and meditate. Yeah, no shit. But Dricus coming off that loss, losing his title. We got Usman coming off of an impressive win over Joaquin Buckley in his last fight. So that's good for him, coming in with some motivation and some momentum. And Dricus trying to make his way back into the win column after losing his title. And he's, you know, going up against a former champion. Just what's up, Infinity? Welcome in, man. Appreciate you for jumping in. Hope you're doing well up there in ATL. Hope it's going well for you. If you're still there. I don't even know if you're still there. Not so impressive when Brady makes Buckley look like B leagues. Yeah, I mean, but to me, yeah, I don't know, man. I just think for Usman, everyone was thinking the younger guy, more explosive kind of guy that's on a big win streak is gonna get the best of Usman. And Usman went out there and kind of proved why he was a champ in the past and made Buckley look bad. So, you know, because Buckley was kind of on a roll. So, I mean, it was somewhat impressive, especially at his age and everything we know going on with him. But he's 16-3 in the UFC, 9-1 by KO TKO, 1-1 by sub, 11-2 by decision. A lot of damn decision wins, man. Usman is not a finisher on the ground. He's not a finisher at all, really, unless he gets that big punch again, like he did against Gabriel. But yeah, like 11 wins by decision is crazy. I mean, he's got 9 by KO TKO too, so it's not that far off, but still, yeah, we haven't seen him really getting a lot of finishes as of late. And like I said, he beat Buckley by decision in his last one. He got a bonus for that. It was a fight of the night bonus, actually. Before that, he was on a 3-fight losing streak with losses to Chimaev and then Edwards twice, where, you know, when he lost his title and stuff. So like that was in 2022 when he lost his title to Edwards. And yeah, I get it, it's been like 4 years, but he's only had 4 fights total, including that loss to Edwards, in those 4 years. So he hasn't fought a ton. And he fought once in 22, which was that loss, twice in 23, both losses, and then skipped all of 24 and then came back in 25 and beat Buckley. So overthinking the fight puts you in a bad spot. DDP is the easy pick. Yeah, I played small bet Usman decision plus 425. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, man. Here's the thing. Like, how you know, like we were saying earlier, how's DDP gonna bounce back from losing his title? You know what I mean? His first loss in the UFC, obviously he wasn't undefeated overall, so he's been through the loss and knows how to deal with it, I'm sure. But losing for the first time in the UFC, not to mention it being a title, you know, losing his title while doing it, that could hinder on your mental, you know what I mean? So we'll see how he bounces back from that. Especially since you know, that was back in August. It's been almost a year. It'll be just under a year from the last time when he lost his title, so he's had some time to deal with it and all that. But yeah, coming off of a title loss after defending it a couple times. Usman avoiding damage, although yeah, so how's he gonna bounce back? You know, I don't think Usman's a bitch either, you know what I'm saying? I think he still has a lot of skills that can help him in this fight, but I think DDP's bigger and stronger, being the more natural, you know, middleweight at this point, because, you know, remember, Usman's moving up, you know, has moved up from welterweight. So but DDP's always looked like a bigger dude, and he's strong, but he wasn't strong enough to keep Chimaev off his back. But that's Chimaev. Imagine what DDP would do to Leon Edwards right now. Yeah, no shit. I don't even know that would be fair. Edwards, yeah, he gets broken easy. Doesn't mean he can't come out of it, like we saw him against Usman with that first fight. But still, as we've seen in his losses since then, it's been not good. But you know, I think Usman has a good chance of having a decent fight against DDP. As long as he can deal with the strength and the size of DDP, but that's what kind of gives him the advantage against a guy who's coming up a weight class, you know what I mean? So I'm still back and forth on it a little bit, you know, because DDP beat like Whitaker so in such a big fashion. Izzy in such a big fashion. Now you might be able to say that both of those guys are kind of at the tail end of their careers, and that might have been what, you know, what you blame that on. But then he came and beat Strickland, who was on a roll and doing well with the title. So, you know, I mean, he didn't hold it for long, but on his way up to the title and getting the title, and then now he's the title holder again. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't so much of a fluke. If you think it's 50-50, you got to bet on the huge underdog. Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. Do you think Usman would have had an easier time fighting Prelims or Morales than DDP? No, I don't think so. I think it would have been just as tough. I think Prelims and Morales are different types of beasts. I think Usman might not have fared well. Like, Morales is the bigger, stronger, and has the crazy, you know, dynamic striking and shit. And then you got Prelims, who's just has his own style that just works, and he's just dominant. He's just a different kind of dude. So I don't know how Usman would have fought those two guys, but I don't know. Ian Gary will win. Remember that. I got you. I'm with you on that one too, by the way. But yeah, for this one, I don't know. I feel like Usman might be hungry to get this win, and you know, will his wrestling do to DDP what Chimaev's wrestling did? I don't know, because I don't know that Usman is big enough and strong enough to deal with DDP that way and be able to control him like that. But you never know. If Dricus has a mental block on the from the fight previously and has some issues with that, he might just kind of curl up and not be able to do a whole lot. And that might be the deciding factor, where if Usman can just keep him on the ground and control him. I think if Dricus can, you know, keep off the ground for the most part, and you know, frustrate Usman, I think he'll have a better chance at getting a win over him. But you know, Dricus is pretty well rounded as well. But we just saw how bad he stumbled against Chimaev with the wrestling and grappling. So 2 to 3 years and forget. Ian versus Gable personality tier. I don't know, man. Ian seems like he can be a little bit like overconfident and thinks a lot of himself, but also, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to judge Ian. Gable, as we know, has the skeletons in the closet that aren't in the closet much anymore, but we know about some, you know, sketchy shit from the past. But he seems like a good overall dude, but he definitely has that kind of demeanor about him that he thinks a lot of himself as well, which is fine. But it's sometimes, you know, when you see it in a certain way in a guy, you kind of know that he's kind of a dick about it. But who knows? Rogan gaslit us all into the Usman knee situation. So fake. I don't think it's fake. I just don't think it's as prominent. To me, I don't know that it was so much. I think Rogan added to it and kept it running, and maybe, you know, I guess you're right. What you're saying is right. But I think Rogan added fuel to the fire. But Usman saying that himself is the reason why so many people talk about it, because it came from Usman's mouth. He said, I can't, you know, I can barely walk on concrete. I usually got to walk in the grass because it's too hard on my knees. And when you say that, and when you're an MMA fighter and you're currently fighting, everyone's going to hold that against you. And that's just how the public works. That's how social media works. So I don't think it's a complete lie or fake. I just think that it's it's overdone a little bit. And maybe it's not as bad as we all think. Who knows? Only Usman really knows. You think Jared can wrestle and clinch to a decision? I mean, he has potential to, but I don't know that he will. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a last-ditch effort. But I think he would get stopped before he would get to that point. I'm not saying that he doesn't usually do that. I'm just saying against CLD, I feel like for some reason, I just feel like he's going to try to, I don't know, man. I don't know. Jared Cannonier is always a wild card to me. I don't feel like he's the type of dude that comes out and fights the same way every time. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because I feel like he should have done a lot better in the past than he's done at, you know, getting to the title and stuff. But he just falters some way, somehow, always. So that's what makes me a little weary about betting on Jared for sure. Usman just saw his Justin shock the world. He wants to do the same. Whitman will give him the game plan, I hope. Yeah, that makes sense. I just don't know. Can he, you know, with the best game plan and everything like that, can he, you know, can he put it all into play? You know, so that's the thing. Behind every confident man, there's a confident lady. What the fuck are we talking about, Johnny?
Bruh.
Anyway, let's get to these prelims. We'll discuss those for a quick second before I show you my picks and do the fight wheel predictions, and then we'll get the hell out of here. But we got prelims for UFC Oklahoma City, and we're starting with some newbies coming into their UFC debut. Last minute kind of fight put together here by two undefeated fighters, both making their UFC debut, and one is from Arizona actually. Ezra Elliott, who's 7-0, fighting Damian Anderson, 5-0 in the featherweight division. And we got Anderson with a lot of submission wins. Most of his wins come by submission. Submissions or TKOs, really. He won his last couple fights by submission, not getting past the second round. A couple first round finishes in there as well. Lately, Gary is more confident than Ian. Should the UFC re-sign Fareed Basharat? I don't know, man. Haven't really put much thought into that one, to be honest with you. But yeah, Ezra Elliott, 7-0, coming out of that same fight camp, I think, with where does he fight out of? I think he's at the lab. Yeah, he's at the lab. So out here in Arizona, he fought in LFA before, Rage in the Cage. His last couple fights, he's got a lot of submission wins as well. He had 5 submission wins in a row, and then his last fight was a TKO win, and a lot of them were in the first round, submission or TKO. Almost every one of his fights except for one has been a finish in the first round. He's got one decision in there, so we were robbed of another Ethan Ewing TKO. Oh, I know, man, that sucked. I was really hoping he would be fighting again, and unfortunately he got injured. So good matchup between two undefeated fighters making their UFC debut. I'm rooting for the Arizona boy, Ezra Elliott, 7-0 versus Damian Anderson, 5-0, making their UFC debuts to start off this prelim card for Oklahoma City. Next up, we got Anna Milosano versus Dione Barbosa. And Milosano is making her UFC debut as well, coming out of that tough season. She is 6-1 overall. She's on a pretty big win streak coming into the UFC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in a row. 3 decisions, and then a TKO sub and another TKO where she won a title in Fury before she got into the UFC. So she'll be fighting Dione Barbosa, 9-4 overall, and 3-2 in the UFC. She's a Contender Series girl. She won her last fight by decision over Melissa Gatto. So yeah, that should be an interesting fight for sure. Next up, we got Alvin Hines versus RJ Harris. Harris making his UFC debut, 5-0 coming into the UFC versus Alvin Hines. Goozy, 0-1 in the UFC. It was a tough fight for him in that first fight, and then I think they cut him and brought him back or some shit. I don't remember. Something like that happened in there, but something crazy. But he's back. So Hines is 7-1. Harris undefeated at 5-0, making his UFC debut. Hines coming off that loss, it was by decision to Joanna Denise. Kind of a sloppy fight, but also somewhat entertaining one actually. Just throwing bombs really. Hines got beat up pretty good, lots of blood, but he hung in there and it was a nice performance. I feel like he might have been able to, I think Hines popped and had to take time off. Did he pop? Oh shit, you're right. I think you're right. I forgot about that. Fuck. Good call. I forgot about that. I thought they like cut him or something, but no, it was that he dropped dirty. Fuck, that's crazy. Anyway, he's back, so that's a good sign. Who won the wrestling exchanges between Hamzat and Usman? Oh man, I think Hamzat got the better of Usman, but barely. I think Usman put up a damn good fight, probably one of the best fights that Hamzat has had, besides like Gilbert Burns. So and then obviously Strickland, we know about that, but yeah, I'm probably going for Hines as well. But yeah, so I think Hamzat edged him out, but barely. It was a good fight. It was entertaining. So next up we got Alden Correa versus Stuart Nickel. Correa 12-3 overall, 2-0 in the UFC. Nickel 8-3 overall, 0-3 in the UFC. How he's got a fourth fight, I don't even know. But Correa is gonna come in to look at giving him a fourth loss in the UFC, and then they'll probably cut him. But either way, Correa undefeated in the UFC with 2 wins there. It says Chimaev had over 7 minutes of control over Usman, and Usman couldn't even take him down. So how is that close? Not pressing you, just trying to remind people. I just remember it being a pretty close fight. You know, I definitely don't have a photographic memory for the you know, you knew that because you looked it up. I didn't have a chance to look it up, and I know you're not pressing me. It's fine. I don't give a shit. You know, when it comes down to it, I can't remember every stat. Not the fight. I'm talking grappling. Yeah, that's the thing, is I think I was thinking of the fight overall. I feel like it was close regardless. I feel like Usman definitely gave him a good fight, and that's how we remember that fight. When you're looking at the stats of things, it's obviously not that close when you break it down like that. But no, I got you, Popcorn. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying overall, I think of the fight as an overall thing. When it comes to the wrestling part, you know, again, I just don't remember details that clearly, especially because I didn't have a chance to look it up either. Usually when I look it up and think about it, you know what I mean? It'll come back, but I'm definitely not an encyclopedia, that's for damn sure. But I wish I was. I wish my brain worked better than that. But no, I appreciate you telling me those stats, because it does make me, you know, it reminds me and makes me think of the fight a little closer. So yeah, and I'm also focused on what I'm doing right now instead. But I appreciated all of the information and the stats for sure, because you know, it would just be boring if I was sitting here constantly looking up stats. You know what I'm saying? No, don't even worry about it, Popcorn. Don't even worry about it at all. I'm just saying, I know what you're saying, and you know, I'm just trying to explain myself, so it's not a big deal. I like the interactions, and I like the, you know, the things you guys give me as well, because like I said, this wouldn't be as fun if we didn't go back and forth about stuff. We don't always have to agree either. It's fine, as long as, you know, nobody's being crazy and stupid on here. I don't care. If I'm proven wrong on some things too, I'm not scared of being wrong sometimes. It's okay. I don't know everything, because if I did, my channel might be a little bigger. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a machine like that for sure. So let's move on to the other portion of the prelims. We got hold on, Levi Rodriguez Jr. versus Felipe Franco, and Rodriguez 5-0, making his UFC debut. You know, that's what happens on a lot of these fight nights. We get a lot of guys making debuts. you know, whether they're coming from the Contender Series or Ultimate Fighter or something like that. We get a lot of, you know, they gotta debut somewhere. So a lot of these fight nights that are random, most of the time in the Apex, but sometimes in other cities and stuff, that's where they get their first fight. So we got Felipe Franco, 0-1 in the UFC, 10-2 overall. Let's see who he lost to. His only fight in the UFC, and he lost to Mario Pinto. So that's a tough opponent. I mean, it's not like he's the toughest, but still. And he lost by unanimous decision. So he's going to be looking for his first UFC win, as well as Rodriguez looking for his debut UFC fight and to get a win there, and also keep his undefeated record as we get into the light heavyweight division there. So looks like Franco is the slight underdog to Rodriguez, who's the slight favorite, -185. Crazy to get this big a headliner on a non-numbered card. Yeah, I know, that's what's kind of weird, you know, like, you know, just talking about the whole DDP not being on a fight night since 2020. Like, that was a crazy stat that I didn't realize. So that's what I'm talking about. Those, you know, stats like that get brought up sometimes, that shit just trips me out, because, you know, obviously I didn't know that off the top of my head. So it was cool getting to know that, because yeah, that changes things, you know what I mean? Like, how's that gonna weigh on DDP, as well as coming off the loss, not being the champ anymore, all that kind of shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, it is a pretty big headliner though. A lot of people might not think as much because they don't think much of Usman anymore, but he's only got like 4 losses, and like we were saying, the whole knee thing got blown out of proportion. He looked really good in his last fight against a younger, explosive guy, even though a lot of people don't think a ton of Joaquin Buckley, but still, it was a, you know, pretty dominant and impressive performance by Usman after everyone just talks about him basically being washed. So I feel like it is a pretty damn good headliner, and some decent supporting fights as well. I am pretty much looking forward to that CLD versus Jared Cannonier fight too, so should be good. Anyway, finishing up the prelims here, we got Jesus, this name, Jean-Paul Lebesniani. He's 10-2 overall, and 1-0 in the UFC, with that win being over Phil Rowe by decision. And then he's fighting Seok Hyung Ko, and he is 2-0 in the UFC, and he also beat Phil Rowe in his last fight by decision, and also beat Oban Elliott by decision. Seok Hyung Ko just don't sound right. Exactly.
Damn, son.
Oh man. Yeah, this couple tough ass names, that's for damn sure. But Ko is a -200 favorite, while Lebesniani is a +165 underdog. So we'll see what that fight gives us. And then we get to the featured prelim, Austin Bashi, 14-1 overall, 1-1 in the UFC, versus Jose Delgado, 11-2 overall, 3-1 in the UFC. Bashi coming off of a win, his first win in the UFC over John Yanis by submission. He lost his first fight in the UFC over to Christian Rodriguez by decision. That's a tough opponent to debut against, but yeah, he came back and got a win by sub. Also got the win by submission in the Contender Series to get to the UFC. So Bashi is a pretty decent fighter to watch fight, and I think he's got some potential. So it should be a fun one against Jose Delgado, coming off a win as well over by decision, split decision over Andre Fili back in March of this year. He had some weight issues against Nathaniel Wood and lost by decision on that one, but before that he was on a 3-fight win streak with a win in the Contender Series by TKO, and then 2 more TKO wins over Connor Matthews and Hyder Emil. So yeah, this has potential to be a good fight to lead us into the main card. And that brings us over to the Fight Wheel predictions, as well as my predictions. And as much as I was talking, I mean, I'm not counting Usman completely out, but I'm just going with the safe bet here. And I don't know. I just feel like DDP's going to be hungry to get back in that win column and work his way back to the title. Like I said, I've never been a big fan of DDP, but I just think he's too big and strong for Usman. But Usman could definitely, I like a nice Hyder Emil win. I rate it. Yeah, for sure. What was I saying? Oh, but yeah, for some reason I get the feeling that DDP is going to get that win, so I'm going with him. I'm going with Christian Leroy Duncan to get the win over Jared Cannonier in the co-main. I'll take Chase Hooper in that third fight against Mitch Ramirez, probably by submission. Tabitha Ricci versus Fatima Klein. I know Ricci can be a little bit I don't know, man. I'm just gonna go with Ricci because yeah, I just like her better. Just going with my heart and not my head on that one, I guess. And then Tommy McMillan, you can't deny the showmanship and the skills that he's shown against Montez. With everything being fairly similar except for that KO TKO and the fact that McMillan hasn't lost yet, I think that he could probably get the best of Montez, but you never know. You never know. Sometimes these are the times that these undefeated guys get a loss, and you know, then it really shapes their career after that. So a Ricci Usman parlay is going to pay insane. Yeah, that's why. I mean, Ricci is plus 275 underdog, and Usman is a plus 225 underdog. Yeah, it's not huge. You know what I'm saying? They're not huge underdogs, but they are definitely underdogs. So let's see what the fight wheel predicts for us as we close this out, and we'll see how I do compared to the fight wheel when we come back for the recap on Sunday. So just keep Hooper out of parlays. Yeah, no shit. Danny boy, how you doing? Welcome in. All right, so let's get the what I do here is I make my picks, and then I put them up against a randomized wheel, and I spin the wheel. Whatever it lands on, that's the winner of that fight. I take out his opponent, and then we continue to spin to see what the fight wheel predicts and how I do versus the fight wheel randomized predictions when we do the recap on Sunday. So starts off with the main event, and the fight wheel goes against me right away with a Kamaru Usman win over Dricus du Plessis. So that's interesting. Wait a minute, what happened here? Oh, I clicked off of stuff. So right away the fight wheel goes against me. Not surprised there. Makes it interesting. This is why I make my picks first though, so that way I'm not, you know, just making it interesting on purpose. But yeah, here's your next pick. So the main event's already picked. Fight wheel predicts Usman. I predicted DDP. Next up, we got the first fight of the night, Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez, and the fight wheel predicts McMillan to win, as I did. So we agree on that one. Did I put too many L's in there? I sure the fuck did. All right, there we go. That's 2 fights down. We got 3 more to go, and let's see what the fight wheel predicts next. So far we're 1-1 as far as what we picked. One we agree on, one we don't, and it looks like, oh, it went to Mitch Ramirez, just barely. Mitch Ramirez over Chase Hooper, and I picked Chase Hooper. So we differ on that one as well. 2 more fights left, the co-main, and then the one women's fight. What's the fight wheel going to predict for UFC Oklahoma City? And it's going to agree with me with Tabitha Ricci to beat Fatima Klein. That's my pick as well. Let me write that in here. And we got our last one with the co-main event, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Jared Cannonier. I picked Christian Leroy Duncan. Let's see what the fight wheel predicts. Same thing. So we only have a couple that we're different on, and that's the main event and the Chase Hooper fight. So we'll go CLD there. Okay, so I'm picking Dricus du Plessis to beat Usman in the main event. The fight wheel has Usman. We both picked Christian Leroy Duncan to beat Jared Cannonier. I picked Chase Hooper to beat Ramirez. The fight wheel predicted Ramirez. We both got Christina. Why do I keep saying Christina Ricci? She's a fucking actress. Tabitha Ricci to beat Fatima Klein, and then we both have McMillan, which I see I spelled that wrong, but whatever. To beat Montez. So what do we got? 2 different ones there. I beat the fight wheel last time. I was 4-1. The fight wheel was 1-4. So I did way better than the fight wheel in the last one. We'll see how it goes this time. But yeah, that's it for the fight wheel predictions, my predictions, and that about wraps it up, man. So don't forget to hit that like button before you get out of here, or if you're watching this later, make sure you hit that like button for me. Drop in the comments your predictions for the main card or all of them. It's up to you, but I do like to see other people's predictions, and if it's an off the wall prediction, tell me why. But if you're watching this later or watching this now, again, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you liked what you saw, and you know, if you're new here and haven't subscribed before, hit that notification bell so you know when I go live or put out any other content. I've been putting out shorts and stuff lately too, so there's other stuff there. You can follow on my social media. I've been putting out some TikToks and posting some stuff on Instagram and stuff too. And once again, if you want to listen to audio only version, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. I put it out there, audio version as well. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. All is good. Appreciate you. Thanks to all the new people in here as well as all the returning. I appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit that like button. That's it for me. Come back on Sunday for the recap of UFC Oklahoma City. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.